Hi, we're going to do an EFT with tuning fork session while on a sound pad in a very rapid way. So Richard has had the session yesterday actually and has agreed to show up and redo it, but it will still be benefiting him even though I'll be talking through the whole thing. And he'll be thinking about whatever it is that's bothering him, but I am going to make it a little bit more annoying by explaining what I'm doing as we go. So the first thing is we have the external input going into the sound pad, which is my MP3 player. I like to use Ave Maria, but there's 39 different pieces for every type of ailment you might need or have. And then we can adjust the volume and intensity. So is that okay right now, Richard?
It's perfect.
You're good? Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm just going to put this on the floor. Now I'm going to be using the tuning forks on the standard EFT points or energy psychology points, but I'll probably throw in an extra one here and there because of the power of the tuning fork. So Richard, I'm going to have you start with a pity party. If there's anything left after yesterday's session, that would be good. And I am going to activate the tuning forks on this weight over here. But I may start hitting my knee instead out of habit, so never do that. Always use the activator. Okay, so Richard, did you start your pity party?
I'm there.
Okay, great. So the activated forks are going to be going right on the top of the head, governing vessel 20, and that just allows the pity party to begin. We're going to move to the brow spot. Less than 10 seconds is all you need on each spot. Under the eye. I use the Ohm tuning forks under the nose and the mouth. Then we're going for the kidney 27 under the collarbone. Are you having a pity party anyway, Richard?
Mm-hmm.
Good. I'm going to the conception vessel 17 right here. That's not normally in the EFT, but it works very well. Okay, now I'm going to move over to his fingers and have him continue. Starting with the thumb, both sides of the nail, pretty much towards the bottom of the nail. There are meridians beginning in each of the fingers. Each addresses a different emotion. So this is where different things will be going through the client's mind. If you only had one tuning fork, you could do the tip of the finger, like that, and it'll work just as well. Sound has a broader impact than a needle, so this would be fine if you only had one. But because I have two, I'll use two, and the pinky is a very important meridian, heart meridian. This pretty much will activate anger. So what I'm going to do is go to the liver 3 spot on the top of the foot between the big toe and the other toe, about an inch down. And that will pretty much ensure there's going to be some anger issues going on right now. Is that true for you, Richard? Okay. I would have to say 99% of the time the anger has been activated by the time you get to the liver 3 spot. And so now I would ask the client to rate the intensity of that anger. Richard, if you're not really doing this, you don't need to, but if you are, could you rate it?
What, 1 to 10?
Yeah.
Probably 5.
Okay, good. So I'm going to go over to what we would call the sore spot. Richard would be rubbing over here. It's the same place your hand would be if you were saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Thoracic duct, it's where the toxins go into the lymphatic system, 75% of them. So I'll just activate it with the tuning fork. And Richard, would you just say, even with all this frustration?
Even with all this frustration,
I forgive myself.
I forgive myself.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
On all levels.
On all levels.
Conscious and unconscious.
Conscious and unconscious.
Even with all this frustration.
Even with all this frustration.
And I accept this frustration.
And I accept this frustration.
Now normally a tuning fork will only vibrate for 30 seconds, but because he's on a very powerful sound pad, the tuning fork continues to vibrate because the sound is actually going through Richard into the fork and into the therapist, which is holding the fork. So it's really an amazingly fast way to deal with this. So what I'm going to do now is go to the pinky on this side and ask the client to say, I release this frustration.
I release this frustration.
For my own well-being.
For my own well-being.
2 more times.
I release this frustration for my own well-being. I release this frustration for my own well-being.
Excellent. So there's the next part, which would be called the bridge in EFT or energy psychology. We'll do that so that you can see it. And I use the tuning fork with a diamond. You may not have that. You could use a crystal. And all of that information is on my website. And I'm putting it on what's called the Gamut spot or triple warmer 3. So at this point, Richard, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes, open them. With your eyes only, look down to the right, and now to the left. And now while thinking of the frustration, follow this with your eyes. Hum any tune for a second.
I don't know that one.
Terrific. Now count to 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And hum again. Good. Okay, so can you rate the intensity now?
2.
Okay, great. That lets me show the next part of the protocol. What I really like about a tuning fork is putting it on the small intestine 3. You could also use crystal, a pointed crystal. And this is a very, very powerful point because it's the opening point of one of the, what they call magical meridians or extraordinary vessels. So that is why this point works so well when we can't get it to a 0. So just a couple of phrases. I'm going to put the tuning fork right there on the small intestine 3. And I'm going to ask you to say, even if I'm addicted to frustration.
Even if I'm addicted to frustration.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
Now I would have the client say that 3 times, and then I would have them say, even if it's not possible to get over this addiction.
Even if it's not possible to get over this addiction.
I choose to.
I choose to.
It is my birthright.
It is my birthright.
Even if it's not possible.
Even if it's not possible.
To get over this frustration.
Over this frustration.
I forgive myself.
I forgive myself.
I forgive the frustration.
I forgive the frustration.
Terrific. How you doing?
Very well.
Are you at a 1 or 2?
Except for this bug.
Is it bugging you? Let's tap on
It's
that.
bugging me, shall we?
Or shall we use the fork to hit it?
We could do that. That's another course of action.
So are we at a 0 or do we
Yeah, I feel
really good?
relieved, yes.
Okay, so that's the session, and then I do a reprogramming, and I have the video up for that based on a crossover and an affirmation. So they'll be linked, and thank you very much. Quick, easy, fast, using sound.